Well, this is always fun to do a casual chat here with Traci Kennedy from the Resource Group, my co-founder and good friend, but also an amazing resource, I think, for people in the community. But we wanted to spend a little time talking about first-time home buyers, especially right now. Obviously, the spring season hit early this year, and with the COVID pandemic, some dynamics have changed. But really, for those people that are thinking about buying a house for their very first time, this is a great time for us to answer some of those questions. And if you want more details, feel free to reach out and talk to us more. So with that, I want to welcome Traci.
Thank you so much. This is fun. I'm looking forward to doing this.
I'm going to play the role of a first-time home buyer, and I think it's important. You've got some great ways and tips that you can give people as they're thinking about it. First of all, I'm buying my first home. It's the first time that I'm actually going to own this asset. What should my expectations really look like?
I would say your expectations are to be picky, but not unrealistic. Really explain to your buyer's agent what are your must haves, what are your like to haves, and especially talking about your lifestyle. We like to really find the perfect community that's going to work for your commute to work, lifestyle after work and on the weekends. We take all of those factors into consideration when we're putting your search criteria together.
Walk us through a little bit of the steps. What should be the first thing that I think about as a first-time home buyer to get out of the way so that the shopping is actually enjoyable?
The first thing to do is to get your finances in order, to work with a lender and to get your pre-approval. Once we know what your budget is, that's when the real journey begins. Once you're pre-approved, that tells the listing agent that you really are pre-approved, you filled out the application, and you're a serious home buyer. If you're working with us, we have a great list of preferred lenders that we work with that we know, like, and trust, and close on time, if not early, every time. You want to be able to have someone who can close the deal no matter what and find the solution versus somebody who just gives up and says, sorry, I can't do it. So we pride ourselves on partnering with solution-based lenders. They'll work day and night to find a solution to close a loan on any complicated file.
Fantastic. So I've got my approval and I'm ready to go and I want to start shopping. What do we do? I mean, there's a lot of different options, and out there right now, even with the COVID-19, you've been kind of telling us and helping us with NRG adapt some new ways that we're helping buyers start that buying process. So let's talk about shopping a little bit.
So the way we've been doing it right now is obviously virtually, and it's actually been kind of cool, and I think we'll continue to do a little bit of this on the front end. Now that we can actually show property in person, we'll schedule the showings, and from there, if you identify a property that they love, that's when we contact the listing agent, build a little rapport, understand the current status of the home, if there's already interest in the property, and then we have the conversation about if we want to move forward on submitting an offer or not.
And when you're looking at a house and on a showing, what are some of the things that you would highlight that a buyer should be thinking of or considering, other than the fact that they can see that's the kitchen or that they can see,
Sure.
That's the bedroom?
Some of the things that are really important to point out are going to be the age of the roof, the age of the mechanics, those expensive items that aren't visible to the eye. We want to know, because I know, especially with a first-time home buyer, particularly if they have a budget, they want to be able to go into a home and feel real good about it. So it's important to anticipate what they might have in the future for home repairs. Those are the joys of home ownership. I always try to just guide my clients to be comfortable with a payment, not so much what you're approved for.
Buying a house is obviously an exciting time. Some people are more private about it and don't get a lot of people's input. Other people want everyone to give them input. Who should they be listening to? I mean, you can get this information everywhere on the internet, but ultimately, what is the information that I actually need to make some good decisions?
My advice is always to ask a few people that you know and trust, but don't put it out there to everybody. It's almost like when you're naming your baby or your dog. Sometimes when you have too many opinions, it just causes far more confusion.
If somebody's renting and their lease is up in 6 months or 9 months, is that too early to start as a first-time home buyer?
Definitely not. We encourage you start right away. Most importantly, I guess if they're renting, it's knowing your lease is up. And if you have some more time on your lease, what's the termination policy on that lease?
And when you're defining, that search and somebody's trying to figure it out, people
Yeah.
fall into different categories, right? Of what they're trying to accomplish as a first-time home buyer. And the strategy might be a little bit different. You might be somebody that's just trying to look to get in the market and maybe move in 5
Mhm.
or 10 years, or that might be your long-term home. You may only want to buy once, but there's other people that are kind of looking at it maybe strategically, and this is a property that they're buying, but in the next 3 to 5 years, they may want that to be an investment property. Are these important things to know right away, or is this part of the process as a first-time home buyer?
Well, for us, it's always nice to know in advance, but sometimes they don't know that yet. So if in our beginning of the journey, they discover, you know what, maybe I would be good living here for a couple of years, and then, our child will be in kindergarten in 5 years because they're pregnant. We can keep this property and then move to our next. Sometimes buyers don't know what their long-term plans are, but when we start our search early, oftentimes you can figure it out.
So I know you also advise clients to keep in mind some things financially
Mhm.
that are part of the transaction as a first-time home buyer. So obviously you'll have your earnest money when you put a contract in. You also have some fees as far as inspections and appraisals and those types of things. Can you walk us through maybe kind of some good guidelines for people to think about and how to budget the process of buying a home? And
Sure.
also talk about how the realtor commission is factored in.
We love to provide clarity and educate them so they know as close as possible what they're going to be bringing to the table. We always let them know appraisal and inspection are going to be the only out of pocket expenses during the transaction, and that the earnest money is a deposit towards their down payment. And as far as the commissions go, we always let them know that that is our compensation as their buyer's agent is negotiated with the listing broker. So they won't be paying any real estate commissions on the buying side.
And that obviously comes once you successfully have them close on a home as well, which is nice because people can
Correct.
shop a little bit more ease, not thinking that,
Oh, I have to pay you as well. Yes, exactly.
that's right.
Mhm.
So what makes the resource group different as far as when you're working with a resource group agent? What's different about the business philosophy that we have that you find your clients benefit the most from?
I really think it's because we truly care. We're not trying to just sell them a home. I mean, we've had clients where it's taken 100 houses to go through, and then we've had, the rare instances where it's one or two. We always hear at the end of the transaction that they've always felt that they're the only client we're working with, and they've never felt pressured to move forward on a property that maybe they've been wavering over. That's certainly one of the best things I think about working with Resource Group.
Well, Tia, I appreciate being your partner and the leadership that you provide for all of us. It's tremendous. And for anyone that's watching this video, again, Resource Group, we founded this 7 years ago to transcend that transaction like Traci was talking about, and just to be a resource for you with all things real estate related. Feel free to click in these links, hit us on DMs, email us, give us a phone call. If there are more questions that we can answer for you, but more importantly, we wanted to put this video and more things out there like that this year so that you can forward it to people that you know that might be having those questions or concerns and don't know where to start. Here's a great way for them to start on their own and start down that journey. But if we can be of assistance to them, we'd love to do that. We wish you the best. Traci, thanks again for being on here with us, and look for more of these as we post them throughout the year. You guys take care.
Thank you.